What's the deal, YouTube? It's your boy. Next Gen 720, and I'm back with another video. So if I hit one of these right hands, you ain't got no choice but to succumb to your injuries. Anyway, it's a firm. I'm quite sure you guys may have heard about it right now, but it's crazy because I talked about this a few weeks ago, and you ponies was like, next gen Sony, the PS4 is selling, like I told you guys before. Anyway, it's a lot bigger than the PS4 doing well. Saying this company is, has a tool, and this is what they do. They're in business for a reason. They're saying that Sony has a 79% chance of going bankrupt. 78, 79, that's like 78.5. Mom say 80% chance of going bankrupt in the next 2 years if they don't turn around. And like I said, this is a lot bigger than the PlayStation 4 selling well. Like I told you guys before, and you guys said I was hating and all this other dumb shit. You ponies was hopping up and down like, No. Sony TVs are not selling well. The music industry is in a slump. You know what I mean? Why do you think Sony was fighting so hard for that fucking soap or shit, that piracy shit, you know what I mean? Like, the movies are down, you know what I mean? Like, it's fucked up all across the board for them, you know what I mean? And, that's, like I said, I'm gonna read a little bit of the article, not the whole guy, it's a bunch of fucking mumbo-jumbo numbers here. But it says, macro axis, I'll probably fuck that up, M-A-C-R-O axis, a macro axis. Sony has a 79% chance of going bankrupt in the next 2 years. And so it said, according to a financial engineering tool website that analyzes companies and determines their well-being, Sony Entertainment has a discouraging 79% chance of going bankrupt in the next 2 years. He said you can go here and click the link and see it for yourself. So based on his latest financial disclosures, Sony Corporation has a probability of bankruptcy of 78%. This is, to talk about some more numbers and da-da-da-da. It's higher than this is 182% higher than the consumer goods sector. You know what I mean? But fuck all that. Let's get down into the juicy part. It says here, while it would be factual to say that Sony will fail in the next 2 years, is all a guess. The 78 figure is based off real, actual numbers. Many will concern if these numbers are being inflated, but it all doesn't sound too far-fetched. You just realize it says here that Sony last year was, their overall stock, this shit was at junk status. And they also sold multiple headquarter buildings. I think they sold one in Asia, and they sold they sold maybe one in Europe, one in Asia, and one in North America. But anyway, it says here, but for the same purpose, the same tool, the stating that Nintendo has a 22% chance of filing for bankruptcy in the next 2 years. You know what I mean? And they just going off, Nintendo with as far as with the Wii U. You know what I mean? Like this. So Nintendo's in a far better place than Sony. Okay, Nintendo doesn't take the risk that Microsoft and Sony take, as far as them spending on their hardware. Nintendo doesn't do it. You know what I mean? They made a shitload of money with the Wii. Every Wii was sold at wasn't sold at a loss. It was sold at at a gain. You know what I mean? But anyway, just get back to Sony. But anyway, you gotta look at it like this. And a lot of you, when I said this before in my video, you guys were saying, but the PlayStation 4 analysts, no, it's much bigger than the PS4. Okay, that's a small division of the PlayStation brand is small. You know what I mean? And Sony overall thing, like I said, movie sales are down. You know what I mean? Music. CDs are not. Last time you went in the store and bought a CD, you know what I mean? CD music sales are down, you know what I mean? Their TVs are not selling well. Like I said, and a lot of that shit I do blame on Sony because, like I said before, they're extremely expensive. I remember Sony had the laptops popping a few years ago, and I said, this is ridiculous. I mean, this is regular Windows, same thing. But you were getting an HP, nothing different, or a Dell, but it was paying. You were paying $900 more. You know what I mean? They will cost you just as much as a Mac. You know what I mean? And I don't know. Like I said, that's why those investors wanted Sony to sell off the shit that wasn't profitable. Sony had the cell phone venture that went bust. The Sony Ericsson. Like I said, I don't know. Like, I'm just being real. When the last time you bought a Sony product? Like, to me, it's Samsung or nothing. You know what I mean? I'm just being real. But like I said, Sony is getting their teeth kicked in all across the board. You know what I mean? It's just it's not doing well for them, you know, at all. Now, like I said, this is a lot bigger than the PlayStation brand. This one, some real shit. I think it was like, I mean, yes, boo boo. Huh? Okay, whatever she's talking about. It was an article. I think it was on VG Charts on N4G. It said just right before a couple months before E3 last year, and I read about it when I first started doing your lollipop, and I did it, and I talked about it back then. I had a small itty bitty channel, and I'm sorry that I don't no longer have that channel. You know what I mean? But and I had a link to the article there, but it was saying that Microsoft was in talks to buy, was trying to buy Sony. You know what I mean? They tried to buy him the 6th generation, but what happened was his name was some old boy named Ken Cougar Rye, was some man name. They gave him the PlayStation, the father of the place, they gave him their place, made him step down. You know what I mean? He was against the working for a Western company or whatever the case may be. Okay, boo-boo. Let's shoot this video. He was against, working for him. Like I said the other day, I guess he was voted off the ship or whatever the case may be, but Sony is in dire straits. Like, they need money. Whatever you sell your office, dog, like, you know what I mean? These motherfuckers out in Central Park taking facts. And I'm not saying that to be joking, but Sony has been hit with some problems. You had the big earthquake over there in Japan. Like, god damn. Like, they can't spin that shit around. And they were saying they still haven't made the money back that they lost on the PlayStation 3. They have not, you know what I mean? They haven't made, like I said, they took a big gamble with the whole, with the Blu-ray thing. You think about it. They launched that console with $600, right? And not saying it's not sold at profit now, but back then it was the die or something, in the lens, and it was expensive for them to make, and X, Y, and Z, and they thought their Blu-ray was going to really, really, really take off, and it still hasn't. You know what I mean? I'm just being real. You take them out, like Blu-rays are not in the mainstream. Maybe now, maybe more acceptable because Xbox also play Blu-rays. But think about it. They thought the Blu-ray was going to take off like the CD. I'm sorry, like the DVD. Sony has I will give them that they always been like one to push the envelope as far as technology. Like I start buying CDs really when I got my original PlayStation. I start buying DVDs when I got my PlayStation 2. I start buying Blu-rays when I got my PS3. But you take somebody like my grandmother or your grandmother, mother, father, whatever, they can't really tell you, hey, I'm gonna pay $30 for this Blu-ray, or I'm gonna get this DVD for $12. I think the price of Blu-ray needs to come down probably to about $15. Make all Blu-ray movies, don't give a fuck what. All Blu-ray movies $15, and you know what I mean, and DVDs probably like $10 or something. You know what I mean? Like I said, one thing, like I said, it's still a lot of money. If you don't buy that Blu-ray movie Tuesday when it ship, that shit, it may be $22 at launch, but that motherfucker going back up to $27, $30. That's a lot of goddamn money. You know what I mean? Now, like I said, now, I'm sorry, high definition TVs, they have a bigger install base today. I think back then when the PS3 dropped, I think it was less than that 2% of the American population had high definition TVs. You know what I mean? That's when you were still watching cable on Channel 3. Now everything has switched over from analog to digital, but still, I think, as far as this one thing, Sony needs to bring their prices down on all their TVs and all that shit. You know what I mean? Look, prime example, look in Brazil. The motherfucking PS4 costs 2 G's. That motherfucker costs $2,000. Whereas the Xbox One is like, it looks like $800, like $1,000 or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Or $800, or something like that. At the end of the day, man, do I want Sony going to business? No, like I say, but I'm just not. It's bigger than the video game department. It's bigger. Like I said, competition is good for everybody. But Sony's gonna have to do something to turn this motherfucker around, according to them. Because like I said, in 2 years, if they keep losing money the way that they're losing money, then goodbye. I wonder who will buy the PlayStation brand. You know what I mean? Because I'm being real, they don't have enough money to stay on their own. Like I said, if Microsoft was to cut ties with the Xbox brand, I think the Xbox brand alone is worth, I think it was something like $19 billion, or I think it's a little more than that. I'm sorry. It was. I don't like going dumpster diving, but I think the Xbox itself, and not even the whole entertainment division, is like $19 billion. They're worth like $19 billion or some shit. That's not even including the entertainment division, the movie studios and all that shit they got going on. You know what I mean? You know, but they can stand on their own. When Nintendo, all they do is video games. But I don't really think the PlayStation brand can stand on its own. You know what I mean? They had to borrow money to make the PlayStation 4. You know, from the other departments. But anyway, I'm about to wrap this video. Let me know what you guys think. What do you think Sony can do to turn it around? I'm not just talking about the PlayStation 4. Like, once again, this is bigger than the PS4, ladies and gentlemen. The PS4 is not going to save Sony. They continue to lose money the way they're losing money. Anyway, this is your boy Next Gen 720. It's been real. Yeah, maybe the next time you go with some more bad Sony news. Shut the fuck up. Catch when he phones him like, shut the fuck up. They're all shit out, y'all.